Good morning, my name is Ingmar. I'm here as part of the Lux Futurum team for 2025. I'm really excited to sit down with Daan Roosegaarde, but Roosegaarde, if I don't know how to say it. But it's really nice to meet you actually in real life. The first time I saw you, it was we were doing a recording with Martin.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And
I remember.
You were very nicely sitting in your place, and was it in Bali with in the garden? You were talking
in our glowing garden.
Your glowing garden.
Well, it was daytime, so you couldn't see it, but yeah.
Nice. So this is your first. You've been in Shanghai
I lived
before
here.
when you were.
I lived here for
so
almost 2 years. Yeah, I was professor at the Tongji University. 6-7 years ago, almost 8.
Nice.
And it was actually part when environmental design really started to make its entry. Before people thought, oh, design is lamps, chairs, and tables. And then suddenly it was about environment and about clean air and clean water and clean energy. And China at that time was really still sort of in this hyper development. So it was really interesting to be part of that. And now I'm here. But you don't change China. China changes you.
No.
It's a famous book title.
But has it been a little bit of a trip down memory lane coming back this time?
Yeah, well, sure. Well, I mean, everything changes, nothing changes, right? And I also realized that I've changed. So the things that I liked then, I don't necessarily like them that much anymore. And it's interesting how the element of nature or being surrounded by nature is such becoming a part of my DNA right now. So but it's still amazing. Like one of my friends is now the new vice dean of a new academy, new university, 25,000 students working on design and technology. Yeah, that's insane. That's something that in Europe we can only dream of. So it's definitely, there's still a drive to design that better future. And that's always impressive.
Absolutely. You are one of our keynote speakers today, so I'm going to sort of ask you a little bit more about that side of things, and Katja later is going to ask you a little bit more about Spark and the project that you submitted.
Yeah, let's do that.
But maybe you would like to give us a bit of a glimpse as to what we could maybe expect in the keynote coming up. No,
you just have to come and see it. No. Next question. No. Well, to be honest, I never know. I have a sort of keynote of 300-400 slides. And of course, I prepare and we have a briefing. But it's also like this conversation or the conversation that I have with the people before that sort of defines what I zoom into. Because there's so many ways to tell the story. I can talk about process. Having a crazy beautiful idea of which everybody says it's not possible, and then prove them wrong. I can tell the story about what happens when technology jumps out of the screen and becomes part of our environment, or the importance of including nature, the principles of nature, the notion of biomimicry into the design. So there are different ways of approaching it, but something like that.
So has nature been the backbone of a lot of the inspiration behind the work that you do? I know we talked about the world that glows in a way.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think like 10 years ago, if I would have given this keynote talk, I would show you our microchip that we custom developed in our C++ code and our LEDs, and I would show it in a level. We would be really proud of that. I would never do that now. Now I'm showing the wing of a butterfly, how it sort of reflects light and therefore always remains vivid in color, or I'll show how we're breeding fireflies in Bali. So I think the principles of nature have become more part of the design process, and that's logical when you do large-scale public artworks, because most tech breaks down when you're in public space with people and weather and rain, and so when you start to include the principles of nature, it just starts to work with you. You get the little surprises, and of course we still use tech and we still love it, don't get me wrong,
but it's more of like an organic element.
But it's sort of the combination. And I think, to be honest, as the cities more and more have become these sort of machines that give us benefits but also disadvantages, like air pollution or traffic jams, or well, you name it, to sort of bring back elements of nature into our city.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about planting trees and green roofs. That's part of the future.
Yeah.
Actually, we were just talking about it just now. This beautiful story of an Amman hotel 45 minutes from here.
Yeah.
And a very wealthy owner, right? So what do you do when you have a lot of money? Like you have a yacht, you have a car, like whatever. He heard the story that his 2,000-year-old trees of his childhood village, like 700 kilometers away from Shanghai, were at the point of being destroyed, demolishment for new development. And of course that broke his heart as he played there as a kid. Yeah. And so what he decided is to get those trees, we're talking about big trees, 2,000-year-old, ship them all the way to the Amman here in Shanghai. And they're still there now.
Wow.
And I think that's such a beautiful story. Like, hey, if I would be a billionaire, that's exactly what I would spend my money on. You know, that's good. That's good. But it's also, the importance of bringing nature back into the environment, and they're still there, and the place is amazing. So that's interesting. But you know, when I design something, I don't necessarily think about is it technology or is it nature. It's more like you see spark. Right, organic firework, or you see a glowing garden, or you see a Van Gogh bicycle path that glows at night. People go there; they have a memory, right? They have an experience. They wake up the next morning. What do they remember? You know, like what's the feeling that changes them? Hopefully in a positive way. That's what I want to design. That's where I want to be. So yeah, you use whatever you think is useful. So you just grab what you. Yeah, no, everything is an ingredient in a way. Yeah.
But is it an element of lighting that, as a medium, has an impact on people's experiences, or is it something outside of that, not specifically lighting that you've?
Well, I mean, I like light as a language. You know, it's such a powerful tool. Like, if you read the Bible and you look at the creation process in Genesis, I don't know how good your Bible language is, knowledge is, but. Like,
you can enlighten me.
God said there was light. And then my girlfriend said no, because he said, so sound was the first thing. Which is just really annoying. But anyway, so it's like
that was first, chicken or the egg.
Okay. Light. So light is back to the light is the beginning of creation, and it's also the future as we're traveling to the stars, as things from history are moving towards us, right? With all these, like the stars are information that's speeding towards us, 300,000 kilometers per second speed of light. So that's really interesting, and it creates. You can use it in a very intimate and poetic and personal way. At the same time, the way you see light is being used in cities these days, there's a lot, excuse my French, a lot of BS light versus beauty light, which is just burning when nobody's there, you know. Gas station fully lit when they're closed, street lights fully on when nobody's there. So I think we have to sort of renegotiate and recurate our relationship with light, sometimes dark, sometimes present, sometimes absent. That's sort of the next step. Right? Like if I would be a streetlight in this interview, I would just be rambling non-stop, not listening to you, right? Because I'm always on, independent of my surroundings. So the next step that it gets a sort of sensitivity out of a personal experience, out of an energy friendliness, out of a certain desired behavior, out of nature, right?
Now, coming to the Lux Futurum event, we're really excited, of course, that you can be part of that. Have you had a chance to see some of the other works that have been part of it?
What do you mean? For the competition?
Yeah.
No, you never look at the competition. No, of course, No, I looked a little bit in the airplane.
But it's really nice also to see that what a large part of what we're trying to do here is bridging the gap between what's happening in one side of the world and what's happening in this part of the world.
That's definitely the power of China. They're curious. I think Europe, and I say this with pain in my heart, has lost its sense of curiosity. It's sort of like wind in a glass bottle, which is not wind anymore. It's sort of stuck, right? And we realize that. So we have the money, we have the experience, we have the culture, we have the tradition. We're sort of stuck. And China has that that sort of openness and freshness. And you know, okay, they're finding. It was so funny. A friend of mine was showing a building this morning, and it said, "Yeah, this is our cultural heritage, and it's a monument, and like we're very much history. It's 80 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, for a European, like what? That's like nothing. That's completely nothing. So, but that's cool, right?
Yeah.
So that also, it's sort of, they're sort of liberated from that. And when I came here for the first time, there was still the tendency of the copy paste and stuff like that. That's gone. That's gone. So China has developed its own signature, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah.
And
which other people don't necessarily realize.
The Europeans are completely clueless about that.
Yeah.
Completely clueless in general, like the people who have never been here. But they're curious. So and they're catching up. And you see it in the cars, you see it in the trains, you see it in the pollution that has sort of disappeared. They fixed it in Shanghai and Beijing, which of course was a big design project that we did when we built the largest smoke vacuum cleaner here in China that sucked up polluted air, making these clean air.
Was that in
Beijing?
Beijing,
Dalian, some other cities as well. But they sort of, fixed it, and that's impressive. So, China is curious. The next step, and this is something they say, not me,
not you.
Is the creativity. So the look at something and challenge it, question it. Don't just say yes because somebody tells you to do it, but interact with it and play. When I have a client and a client comes to me and they say, as a briefing, as an example, I want green. And then it's sort of my job to listen to them and say, no, you want grass, right? To sort of copy more of what they're saying and translate.
What does that represent for you?
And what does it represent? And sometimes they want something, but they shouldn't do it, right? And it's sort of my job to sort of push and pull, and that interaction creates excellence. So that's sort of the next step of Chinese design, that you don't just give what you think they want, but you from the interaction, from the relationship you have with each other, you start to challenge each other.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes a bit uncomfortable, but uncomfortableness is part of making a great design. Yeah.
And then in the end you arrive at what they really want.
Yeah, or you go to a place you've never been before. That's even better, right? That's the idea of when you're guided by curiosity, when you're guided by an idea, you go to a place you've never been before. Yeah. And that's really scary, but that's also really awesome. And
absolutely.
That's a very natural next step of China. And so you have great manufacturers, you have students that are engaging.
Yeah.
They're more focused on themselves. It's more like China, which makes a lot of sense.
Without trying to compete or compare.
Yeah, I think they stopped comparing.
A long time ago.
Which I did as well a long time ago. You just stop, you just be you, be you. Stop comparing and believe in your ideas and go for it. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Nice. I'm gonna conclude with
you have a lot of questions that I haven't answered.
No, these are not all for you. I'm just gonna a little.
What do you mean not for now?
Don't steal my question.
No. I'm gonna let Katja talk about your winning entry and about the Spark. But
did it win something? Oh, I didn't even know. Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay.
I think the time is.
Yeah, we were talking too long. Yeah. The lecture. No, so I'm going to talk about the landscapes of our future.
Yeah.
How we can use clean air, clean water, clean energy into our design process.
Yeah.
And make landscapes that people feel connected to in a functional way, in an emotional way.
Yeah.
And of course using elements of nature, but also technology. And as a kid I never liked to play inside. I always went outside, building triads, playing in the mud, etc. And I think the public space is such an amazing place because that's where people connect, where they can interact, where they can explore. Yeah. And as also cities are becoming hotter and hotter, right? And we see like in Middle East 4 degrees increase in the coming 5-6 years. It's insane. So daytime is sometimes impossible. A lot of times Shanghai as well. It's impossible. It's too hot. So we have to design for evening and even night experiences. That's light. So there's a whole new genre popping up because of the climate change of this sort of curated poetic evening experiences.
Yeah.
As daytime is too hot and evening is usually not designed. When you look at renders for an architecture project, all the daytime.
And yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, but nobody's going to walk on 30, 45 degrees outside. So it's interesting that creates a new genre and a new opportunity for the light industry.
Yeah. Daan, thank you so much for sharing that. Thanks
Try
for
to make some sense out of that one. Yeah.
All right, lovely.